documentation, Declaration of Independence. Okay, so by now you guys should know without having to look, right? Yes, ma'am. But if you still have to look, that's fine. But you need to make sure you're starting to memorize that because it's due pretty quickly. Okay. Declaration of Independence in Congress,
July 4th, 1776.
When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature, nature's God, entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind, requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Washington, Adams,
Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Adams, Jackson, Buchanan,
Harrison, Tyler,
Polk and Taylor, Fillmore, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant and Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, Kennedy,
Roosevelt, Taft, Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, Roosevelt,
Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson,
Nixon, Ford,
Carter, Reagan,
Bush and Clinton,
Bush and Barack Obama.
Very good, class. Okay, before we start our lesson, let's go over our geography lesson. That means the map that we are practicing. Okay, we have a map this Friday for a test. Up here, Aiden, darling, up here. Okay, what is this?
Pacific
Pacific Ocean.
Atlantic Ocean. Gulf of Mexico.
What is this?
Mexico.
Mexico. Good. What is this? Canada. Good. What is this river?
Ohio.
The one that goes this way.
Ohio.
Ohio River. What's this one?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. What's the one that goes that way? Who knows? Missouri. Good. What mountain range is this? Rocky Mountains. We haven't learned this one yet, okay? But this is the Rocky Mountains, all right? What is this?
Lake Hudson Bay.
Yeah, Lake Hudson or Hudson Bay, okay? What else is on our test? Okay, let's look right here. If I had a settlement that's about right here, what would that be called? Right, Jamestown. What's the settlement up here? Plymouth. Good job, okay? Which one came first? Jamestown or Plymouth? Jamestown did, okay? Did Jamestown, was it successful the first time? No. Someone raise your hand and tell me why. Why wasn't it successful, Haley?
It was because they didn't have enough food.
They didn't have what?
Enough food.
Enough food. Okay, what else? Why was it unsuccessful, Abby?
They built their fort on a swampy place.
Okay, so the first time they built, they still had it there the second time too, but yes, a lot of mosquitoes caused some disease. What else? Madison?
And because since they were in a swampy, they couldn't do their farms and stuff.
Okay, so they couldn't plant food, so they didn't have food. What else?
They were lazy.
They were lazy.
What happened was they were right on the battlefield for Indians.
That's true. You're right. All of those were exactly right. Let me ask you a question. If we were going to make a settlement, someone tell me what a settlement is. What is a settlement? Someone, Brian.
Like
Going to a new place and staying there, right? So if we're going to make a settlement, what kind of people do we want to bring? What kind, Angelina? Families. Why do we want to bring a family there? Austin?
So they're more interested in settling down and building a house?
Correct. They're more interested in settling down and building a house. The first people that came there were what kind of people?
Wealthy.
Wealthy, and
They were looking for gold.
they were looking for gold. Were they families? No. What was it? They were just rich single men, right? Okay. The second time, did Jamestown fail or was it successful?
Failed.
Successful. Okay. Why was it successful the second time? Ariana? Because they had families that were willing to come. Who can tell me what was the first colony that they tried to start long time ago? What was it called, Aiden? Roanoke. And what do we call that colony? Class?
The Lost Colony.
Why? Someone tell me why. Why? Ryan?
Because the guy went back to the colony and he saw something on the tree and he was
Right, exactly. Okay, so what happened was their governor he went back to England, right, to try to get some more food. What was going on in England at the time? What was going on? Who can remember? War. Who was England in war with against? Spain. And so the Queen said he couldn't come back. So how long was he gone? 3 years. And when he went back, where were the people?
No one knows.
Do we know?
No.
No one knows? Is that why we call it the Lost Colony?
Yes.
Because no one knows. Okay? Today, boys and girls, listen. Today we're going to we've talked about the Jamestown. Now we're talking about Plymouth. Okay? Who arrived in Plymouth? What did we call those people? Pilgrims. But what were they called by themselves? Separatists and strangers. What were the separatists? Who were they, Hannah?
The separatists were people who wanted to separate from the English church.
That's correct. They wanted to separate from the English church. Where did they go first? Madison?
Holland.
Holland. Why didn't it work in Holland? Give me one reason. Haley?
Their children were forgetting the English ways
Okay.
that they wanted them to remember.
That's correct. They were forgetting the English ways. What else? Alicia? They started speaking Dutch. What else? Right. Remember, they were farmers and they had to work in the factories. So they decided to ask the king who? James the First, if they could have some land. And he said, sure. Now, why did they end up in Plymouth? What happened? Madison?
There was a storm and it just did their mouth in the wrong direction.
Correct. There was a storm. Okay. Who were the strangers? Who were they? Strangers. Zane. People that help him out, Austin.
People that just went to adventures.
Okay, people that wanted to venture, that were on the Mayflower. So the Pilgrims were the Separatists and the strangers together, right?
Right.
What was the difference between the Plymouth plantation, settlement, and Jamestown? Give me one difference that made Plymouth better. What did they do? Okay, they had more hard workers. What else, Madison?
They set up laws.
They set up their own government. What else?
They had Indians to help them.
Okay, they had Indians to help them. What else?
They searched the land first.
That's a good one right there. Remember, they searched the land so that they would have a good place to build, right? Okay, and that's kind of where we are in the story right now, right? So today, boys and girls, we're going to learn, listen, about a very important Indian that helped the Pilgrims. Because remember, we're at the part in the story where now they've come to Plymouth and they went through the first winter, okay? And they're still going through the first winter. Are you okay? What did you do? What did you do? Okay, just put it up and get something else, darling. Okay, thank you. All right, so they went through the first winter, and now we're going to talk about who is the chief of the tribe that's trying to help them. Who is the chief? Ryan? Massasoit, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about is Chief Massasoit and the Indian that he sent to help them, okay? So we're on page 43. Page 43. Madison, will you read the first two paragraphs for me?
Yes, ma'am. Making friends with the Indians. Imagine the Pilgrims' surprise when one day the Native American walked into the settlement and said, "Welcome, Englishmen." This friendly Indian name was Samoset. Are you surprised that an Indian knew how to speak English? The Pilgrims were not the first Englishmen to visit New England. Captain John Smith, the same person who had built Jamestown, had explored and made a map of New England. In fact, the Pilgrims were using John Smith's map. The Indians had met and traded with Englishmen and even learned a few words of English. Thus, Samoset greeting the Pilgrims in English. Samoset felt also brought Chief Matasoy and other Indians.
Someone raise your hand and tell me what's important in that paragraph that we need to highlight. Abby, what's important?
An Indian who had been to England and who spoke English well as Squanto Chief Massachusetts.
Correct. Okay, so Squanto, who had been in England and spoke English well, and you need to highlight Chief Massasoit, okay? Both of those names are very important. All right, we're going to find out why they're important. Next paragraph. Continue for me, Miss Alicia.
Chief Massasoit came to make peace with the Pilgrims. Together, Massasoit and the Pilgrims made a treaty, a written promise or agreement. They promised to help each other. They promised to never fight. The promises they made were never broken as long as Chief Massasoit lived.
What's important in that paragraph, Zane? What should we highlight in that paragraph that's important? What's important in that paragraph that we need to highlight? Treaty. What is a treaty? Correct, a written promise or agreement. Also, what else do we need to know about? One person in there. What's one person in there that we need to know something important about? Aiden?
Chief Massasoit.
What did he do?
The promises.
What did he do? Very first thing, what did he do?
To make peace with the Pilgrims.
That's correct. So we want to highlight that Chief Massasoit made peace with the Pilgrims. How long was that peaceful? How long? Hannah?
As long as they live.
As long as he lived. How old was he when he died? Do we know?
No.
No. Okay. It's all right to not know. All right. Next paragraph. Continue to read for me, Miss Abby.
Afterward, the Indians returned their home, but Squanto chose to stay with the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims soon realized that God had sent Squanto to them. Without Squanto, help, the Pilgrims might not have survived.
Okay. Someone tell me what's important in that paragraph. What's very important in that paragraph? Hannah?
God sent Squanto.
Right. God sent Squanto to do what?
To help them.
Right, to help the Pilgrims. You need to know who helped the Pilgrims, okay?
Can we highlight it?
Right, yes ma'am. Remember, we always highlight things that are important, right?
Right.
Although Chief Massasoit's tribe was friendly, there were other tribes that were unfriendly. Yet, through the courage of Captain Standish and the help of Chief Massasoit, the Pilgrims had little fear. Who remembers who Miles Standish was? Who was he, Alyssa?
Soldier who helped the Pilgrims.
That's right. He was a soldier that helped the Pilgrims. Remember, God had sent Miles Standish so that he could help them since they arrived into a new land. Okay? All right. Hard times at the time. Let me have, okay, Miss Hannah Sam.
In April 1621, the Mayflower sailed back to England. The Pilgrims, who had already suffered so much in this new land, much have been tempted to give up and leave, but not one of them asked to go back to England. After the Mayflower had sailed away, Governor Carver became ill and died, and William Bradford was elected to take his place. Governor Bradford was such a good leader that the people elected him again and again and again. And during the next 36 years, he was head of the colony nearly all the time. He wrote a book of the Plymouth Plantation that tells us much of what we know about the Pilgrims.
Hey, that little paragraph has a lot of things in it. What's one important thing? Aiden.
Governor Carver became ill and died.
Okay, Governor Carver, he died. And so what else is important in there, Alyssa?
He wrote a book of Plymouth Plantation that tells us much.
Okay, that is important as well. That Bradford wrote a book called Plymouth Plantation that tells us what we know about the Pilgrims. What else is important, Haley?
William Bradford was elected to take his place.
Yes, how many years was he there?
36.
So we need to highlight all of that, okay? It's very important that you know how many years he was there. Highlight all of that. Okay? Squanto became a great favorite of the Pilgrims. He played with the children and he taught the boys to trap animals and taught the settlers the best time to plant corn. And he told them to put a big fat fish in each hill to fertilize the growing grain. What does fertilize mean? What does it mean, Angelina? Yeah, to give the soil some food. Good job. Once the crops were all planted, the Pilgrims finished building their homes and made peace with 9 Indian chiefs. 9 Indian chiefs. 9 different tribes. Okay? And they traded with the Indians for furs. Who does that sound like? Okay? Who traded with the Indians?
Cartier.
Cartier, that's right, okay? Although they lacked many of the comforts they had known in England and Holland, the Pilgrims did not complain. Instead, they thanked God for what they did have. Food, shelter, and safety. And we're going to stop right there for now. Okay, close your books. I need for you to get your crayons out and your activity buckets. Okay? Crayons and activity buckets. Just put the bucket in the middle of the table. Okay, put your bucket in the middle of the table. Get your crayons out, okay? And then your activity buckets. We have several things in our activity bucket. I'm going to show you what your things are that we're going to be doing today. Okay, just put your activity bucket in the middle of the table. Okay. So I want all eyes up here on me so that we can look and see what we're going to do and we'll discuss it and then we'll give you some time to do it, okay? Everyone look at me. I want to see your pretty eyes, Zane, okay? Because if you aren't looking, then you aren't listening and you won't know instructions, okay? So look at me. You have lots of different colored construction paper. That's going to come in handy in a moment when I tell you what we're doing, okay? This yellow piece of paper is your bottom formation. This is what you're going to build something on top of, okay? And you have glue, and you have crayons, and you may need scissors, and you may need rulers, which you can get all of that out in just a moment. Just a moment, Alyssa, because you haven't discussed it yet. You don't know. Mr. Rudy hasn't even told you what you're doing, and you guys are so excited. What if I told you that you know, we're doing something that you don't want to do, and you're so excited? Okay? All right? You can also use your glue stick. Then you have one of these, look. One of these, okay? Today, boys and girls, you are going to build your own colony, your own settlement, okay? But listen,
Can I come on? Can we do it in a car?
just a minute, okay? When we do things, we do it as a group, a team. So does that mean one person does it all? No, because we've talked about what is something that doesn't work when you work as a team. It doesn't work. When what?
That starts an argument.
It does start an argument. So you have to learn to work together, okay? So let's look at our goal. Everybody look. Here's the goal. You're going to have 2 goals today. Here's your settlement. Everybody look. And in a settlement, what do we have to have so things that run smooth? Okay, government. Okay? What would we call government? What would that be another word that we would call it? Laws or rules. Okay? Now listen, because Ms. Stewart's going to put, because we only have about 15 minutes to do this, okay? And then we're going to talk about what works in our colony and what doesn't. Because Ms. Stewart's looking for certain things, okay? But I'm not going to tell you what I'm looking for because I want to see if you can work together. In our government, I want you to have 3 rules. Okay? So we're going to say that we're just going to have 3 rules. Now, in most of governments, would you just have 3 rules?
No.
Although John Smith had 1 rule. What was his rule?
If you don't work, you don't
If
eat.
you don't work, you don't eat. Okay? So this right here, Zane, look up here. I need to see your pretty eyes. This is for your rules. Okay? Now, in your settlement, I want to see a name of a settlement. Okay? Which you can put at the top of your rules. Okay? And I want to see your settlement. I'm not going to tell you what I'm looking for on there, but I need to see certain things. And I'm going to see if you work together as a group. Okay? So you can build your settlement however you want, whatever color you want to do it in.